stage 7, paragraph page 561. Okay, and our last headword was clue, newer type of lesson. Okay,
Good.
so let's
Okay.
start with our revision. Okay, let me just scroll down. Okay, here we go. First question. What's a seat? What's a seat? A seat is
A
anything
seat.
that we
A
sit
seat
on.
is anything that sit on.
That we sit on.
Ah, that we sit on.
Greg, do men in your country stand up and offer their seats to women on buses? Do men in your country stand up and offer their seats to women on buses? Yes or no?
No.
Men in my
Men
country
in my
don't
country
stand up
don't stand
and
up
offer their
and
seats
offer their
to
seat
women on
to
buses.
women on buses.
Do you think they ought to? Do you think they ought to? Yes or no? I
Yes,
think they
I
ought
think
to.
they ought to
Why? Why do you think so? Because
because it's
it's
gen,
being
it's being gentle,
gentleman. Very good.
gentleman.
Gentleman. Very good. What's the difference between a chair and a stool? What's the difference between a chair and a stool? The difference between
The
a
difference between
chair and a
a
stool
chair
is
and a
that
stool
a stool
is that a stool
does not have a
does not
backrest.
have a backrest.
Very good. About how many passengers does the average bus seat? About how many passengers does the average bus seat? The average
The
bus
average
seats about
bus seats about 40
passengers.
passengers.
Very good. Where's the seat of government in your country? Where's the seat of government in your country? The seat
The
of
seat
government
of
in my
government
country
in
is
my
in.
country is in Tokyo.
Very good. What does the idiom get on somebody's nerves mean? What does the idiom get on somebody's nerves mean? The idiom
The
get
idiom
on
get
somebody's
on
nerves
somebody's
means
nerves
irritate
means
somebody.
irritate somebody.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. Mary's very
That
nice,
is very
but
nice.
her sister
But her sister
gets on my nerves.
gets on my
He is
nerves.
always making
He
things.
he's
He she is always
she always
one more. She is always
she is always
making things difficult.
making things difficult.
Very good. Why do we use the word so and not when replying to something that someone has just said? Why do we use the words so and not when replying to something that someone has just said? We use the
We
words
use the
so
words
and not
so and
when
not
replying to
when
something
replying to
that
something
someone has
that
just said
someone has just said
to avoid repeating
to avoid
the
repeating
whole sentence.
the whole
Give
sentence.
me some examples of this use of the word so. Give me some examples of this use of the word so, please. Is that right?
Is that right?
What James said?
What James said?
I'm afraid so.
I'm afraid
I
so.
hope so.
I hope so.
I suppose so.
I suppose
I
so.
think
So.
so.
I think so.
Very good. Give me some examples of the use of the word not. Give me some examples of the use of the word not, please. Is that right?
Is that right?
What James said?
What James said?
I'm afraid not.
I'm afraid
I
not.
hope not.
I hope not.
I suppose not.
I suppose not.
Very good. When do we use the word so at the beginning of a sentence? When do we use the word so at the beginning of a sentence? We use the
We
word
use
so
the word
at the
so
beginning of a
at the beginning
sentence
of a
when
sentence
we already
when we
know
already know
something that someone
something that someone
has just told us.
has just told us.
Very good. Give me an example. Give me an example, please. Someone says to us,
Someone says to
Mr.
us,
Jones has
Mr.
gone to
Jones has
Australia.
gone to
And
Australia.
knowing this fact,
And knowing this fact,
we reply,
we
so
reply,
we've been told. So
so
we've
we've
been
been
told.
told.
Very good. What am I doing? What am I doing? You're shooting at the window.
You are shooting at the window.
What are the three forms of shoot? What are the three forms of shoot? The three forms
The
of
three
shoot
homes shoot
are shoot,
are
shot, shot.
shoot, shot, shot.
Have you ever seen anyone shot in real life? Have you ever seen anyone shot in real life? Yes or no?
No,
I've never seen
I've never
anyone,
seen
anyone shot
anyone
in real life.
chat in real life.
Very good. What are the five senses? What are the five senses? The five senses
The five senses
are sight,
are sight,
hearing,
hearing,
taste,
taste,
touch,
touch,
and smell.
and smell.
Where if you had to do without one of those five senses, which would you choose? If you had to do without one of those five senses, which would you choose? If I had to do
If I had to do
without one
without one
of those five
of
senses,
those five
I'd
senses,
choose.
I choose smell
Why? Why? Because
because えっと
we can say it's less important.
it it's less important.
Very good. Tell me
It's
some of the sights one might see if one went to New York. Tell me some of the sights one might see if one went to New York.
New
Some
York.
of the
はい。Some
sights
of the
one
sights
might see
one might
if
see
one went
if
to
one
New York
went to New York
are the Statue
are
of Liberty,
the Statue of Liberty,
Madison Square Garden,
Madison Square Garden,
etc.
etc.
Ray, is it brighter in your room than outside? Is it brighter in your room than outside? Yes or no? It's
Yes,
brighter
it's
in my
brighter
room
in my
than
room
outside.
than outside.
Do you prefer bright colors or dark colors? Do you prefer bright colors or dark colors? I prefer
I prefer bright
two
colors
dark colors.
to dark colors.
Very good. Were you one of the brightest pupils in your class at mathematics? Were you one of the brightest pupils in your class at mathematics? Yes or no?
No,
I wasn't one
I wasn't one
of the brightest pupils
of the brightest
in my
pupils
class at
in my class
mathematics.
at
Yeah,
mathematics.
me neither. Do you usually feel brighter in the evening than first thing in the morning? Do you usually feel brighter in the evening than first thing in the morning? Yes or no? I
Yes,
usually
I
feel
usually
brighter in the
feel
evening
brighter in the evening
than first thing in the
than
morning.
first things in the morning.
Well, what do we mean by a dull person? What do we mean by a dull person? By a dull person,
By a dull
we
person,
mean a boring person.
we mean a boring person.
Well, what kind of job do you think is the dullest? What kind of job do you think is the dullest? I think
I think factory worker
is the
is
dullest.
the dullest
Why? Why? Because
because factory worker
do the same
is
thing
do the same things.
again and again
Yes, yeah, again and
and
again.
again. Very good. Was it a dull day yesterday? Was it a dull day yesterday? Yes or no?
No,
It wasn't a
it
dull
wasn't
day
a dull day
yesterday. It was a
yesterday.
bright sunny
It
day.
was bright sunny day.
Reggie, do you spend a great deal of your time doing nothing? Do you spend a great deal of your time doing nothing? Yes or no? I
Yes,
spend
I
a great
spent
deal
a
of
great
my
deal
time
of my
doing
time
nothing.
doing nothing
Why? Why? Because
because it is it is very
relaxing.
relaxing.
Very
Yeah,
good.
relaxing.
Okay. Do you think that the personal freedom of the individual is important? Or do you think that the individual ought to be made the same thing and live in the same way as other people? Do you think that the personal freedom of the individual is important? Or do you think that the individual ought to be made to do the same things and live in the same way as other people? I think that
I think
the
that
personal freedom
the personal freedom
of the individual
of the
is
individual
important
is
and
important
should not be
and
made
should not be
to
made
do the same things
to do the same
and
things
live in the
and
same
live
way
in the same
as other
sa-
people.
same way
As other people.
as other people.
Very good. Okay, what do we mean by a fierce animal? What do we mean by a fierce animal?
Yes,
By a
I,
fierce animal,
by a fierce
we
animal,
mean a
we
dangerous
mean a
and wild
dangerous,
animal,
a wild animal,
like a lion or a
like a
tiger.
lion or a tiger.
Very good. Make a sentence using the word nonetheless. Make a sentence using
Nonetheless.
the word nonetheless, please. I haven't got
I haven't
very
got
much money,
very much
but
money,
nonetheless,
but
I will
nonetheless,
go to the
I
cinema
I will go to the
this
cinema
evening.
this evening.
What's another word for nonetheless? What's another word for nonetheless? Another word
Another
for
word
nonetheless
for
is
nonetheless
nevertheless.
is nevertheless.
Very good. Give me an example of the words had better. Give me an example of the words had better, please.
Had better.
I had better.
I
Go
had
now.
better don't do now.
Go now.
Go now.
Or I'll miss my
Or
train.
a missed train.
My train.
My train.
Very good. One more. I had better
I
go
had
now.
better go now.
Or I'll miss my
Or I'll
train.
miss my train.
Very good. What had we better do if we want to get high marks in an examination? What had we better do if we want to get high marks in an examination? We had better
We had
study
better
hard
study
if
hard
we want to
if
get
we want to
high
get
marks
high
in
marks
an
in
examination.
an examination.
Well, what had you better do in order to avoid catching a cold? What had you better do in order to avoid catching a cold? I'd better look
I better
after
look
myself
after
by
myself
wearing thick,
by wearing
warm
thick,
clothes
warm
in
clothes
order to avoid
in order to
catching a
avoid
cold.
touching a cold.
Well, if you buy clothes and find out later that they don't fit you properly, what do you do? If you buy clothes and find out later that they don't fit you properly, what do you do? If I buy
If
clothes
I buy
and
clothes
find out
and
later
find out
that
later
they don't fit
that
me
they don't pick
properly,
me
I
properly,
take them back
I take
and
them back
try to change them.
and try to change them.
Ragged, would your front door key fit this door? Would your front door key fit this door? No. My
No,
front door
my
key
front door key
wouldn't fit that door.
wouldn't fit that door
Why not? Why not? Because my front
because
door
my
keys
front door
a
keys
different size.
are different size.
Have you got any brothers or sisters? Have you got any brothers or sisters? Yes,
Yes,
I've got some
I've got some brother
and a sister.
and sister and a
Do,
sister.
do their clothes fit you? Do their clothes fit you? Yes or no?
Yes, no, no,
Their
no.
clothes
Their clothes
don't fit me.
don't fit me
Why not? Why not? Because they take
because they
a
take
different
a
size from
different
me.
size from me.
Are you fit to teach English? Are you fit to teach English? Maybe I'm fit
Maybe I'm
to
fit
teach beginner
to teach
level English.
beginner level English.
Regard, what do we mean if we say someone's fit for nothing? What do we mean if we say someone's fit for nothing? If we say
If we say
someone's fit for
someone
nothing,
fit,
fit
fit or
for
not,
nothing,
fit for nothing,
we mean that
we
they
mean
are
that
not good enough
they are not good
to
enough
do anything.
to do anything.
What's the best way to keep fit? What's the best way to keep fit? The best way
Right. The best
to
way
keep fit
to keep
is
fit
to do physical
is to
exercise,
do
physical
physical exercise
2 or 3 times a week.
2 or 3 times a week.
Very good. What does the idiom to feel down mean? What does the idiom to feel down mean? The idiom
The
to
idiom
feel down
to
means
feel down
to feel
means
unhappy.
to feel unhappy.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. I was feeling
I was
very
feeling
down that
very
morning,
down that morning,
but I felt
but
much
I
better
felt much
when
better
her letter arrived.
when her letter arrived.
Very good. How would you be able to identify yourself in the street if you were stopped by the police? How would you be able to identify yourself in the street if you were stopped by the police? I'd be able
I be
to
able
identify
to
myself
identify myself
in the street
in the street
if I were stopped
if I was
by
stopped
the police
by the
by
police
showing them
by
my
showing
identity
them
card,
my identity card,
passport, etc.
passport, etc.
Ray, do you think it's possible for foreigners to learn English so well that people would think they were English? Do you think it's possible for foreigners to learn English so well that people would think they were English? Yes, I think
Yes,
it's
I think
possible
it's
for
possible
foreigners
for
to learn
foreigners
English so
who
well
learn English
that
so well
people would think
that people would
they were
think
English.
they were English,
but it happens
but it
very
happens
rarely.
very
It
rarely.
often depends
It
on
often
whether on
depends
whether
on whether
their own
their
language
own
is
language
similar to English.
is similar to English.
Very good. What do you do in the evening when it's so cold that it'd be unpleasant to go out? What do you do in the evening when it's so cold that it'd be unpleasant to go out? In the evening,
In the evening,
when it's so
when
cold
it's so
that
cold
it'd be
that it will be
unpleasant to go out,
unpleasant to go out.
I,
I, I,
what do you do at home? I watch movie at home.
yes, I
I
watch
watch
movie at
movies at
home.
home. Very good. Do I gather up my things from the table at the end of the lesson? Do I gather up my things at the table
Uh,
at the end of the lesson?
lesson?
Yes, you gather
Yes,
up
you gather
your
up
things
your
from the
things
table
from the
at
table
the end of the
at
lesson.
the end of the lesson.
At what time of the year do farmers gather the fruit in your part of the world? At what time of the year
What
do
time?
farmers gather the fruit in your part of the world?
Oh,
Farmers
farmers
gather the fruit
gather the fruit
in
in autumn.
my part of the world.
uh, in my part of the
World.
world.
Very good. One more. Farmers
Farmers
gather the fruit
gather the
in
fruit
autumn
in
in
autumn
my part
in
of
my
the
part
world.
of the world.
When a man has been murdered, how did the police gather information about the murder? When a man has been murdered, how do the police gather information about the murder? When a man
When a
has
man
been murdered,
has been
the
murdered,
police
the
gather
police
information
gather
by
information
looking for
by
clues
looking for clues
and talking to
and
people
talking to
who
people
knew the man.
who knew the man.
Right. On what occasions do all the members of the family gather together? On what occasions do all the members of the family gather together? All the members
All the
of a
members
family
of a family
gather together
gather
on
together
occasions
on occasions
such as weddings,
such as weddings,
birthday parties,
birthday parties,
etc.
etc.
Very good. And that's the end of our revision. Let's have new word.
Okay.
Very good. Okay, so let's start first word. Weigh.
Way.
Very good. Okay, listen.
Way.
Weigh is a verb which means to find out the weight of a thing. For
Way.
example, my book weighs about a pound. Okay, let's
Pound,
practice.
pound.
About
Okay.
how much does your book weigh? About how much does your book weigh? My book
Okay. My
weighs
book
about
weighs
a pound.
about a pound.
Very good. Next, cake.
Take.
Very good. One more. Cake.
Cake. Hi.
Literal.
Cake. Literal.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word
Cake.
cake is a noun. For example, a birthday cake.
Uh-huh.
Literal is an adjective. Literal
So,
means having exactly the same meaning as the basic or original meaning of a word or expression. For example, the literal meaning of a piece of cake is a slice of cake. So that's the literal meaning. But the but as an idiom, a piece of cake means very easy to do.
easy to
Okay,
do.
let's
Hi.
practice. What does it mean you can't have your cake and eat it? What does it mean you can't have your cake and eat it? The meaning of
The
you
meaning of
can't have
you can't
your
have
cake
your cake
and eat it
and
is
eat it.
that sometimes
It's that
you have
sometimes
to choose
you have to
between
choose
having one
between
thing
having one
or
thing
another thing
or another
because you
another,
cannot
another
or
sorry
another thing
another thing
another thing.
another thing.
Very good. Now thing like an item, another thing
Hi, another hi, another thing.
because
Thing thing あれ
another
sorry
thing
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 very thing like
thing
one, that's one,
thing
and it's many things.
things
Very good.
things
Okay,
hi
one more.
thing.
The meaning of
The meaning
you can't
of
have
you can't have
your cake and eat
your
it
cake and eat it
is that
is
sometimes
that
you have
sometimes
to choose
you have to choose
between having
between having
one thing
one thing
or another thing
or another thing
because you cannot have
because you cannot have
everything you want.
everything you want.
Very good. Next, repeat comfort.
Com-
Comfort.
comfort. Hi,
Very good.
comfort.
Okay, listen. The word comfort is a noun. which means something
な、
that makes life easy and pleasant. Comfort.
easy and co
For
はい、
example, I
comfort,
put home
comfort.
comforts before everything else. Let's practice. Are you the kind of person who puts home comfort before everything else? Are you the kind of person who
I'm
puts home
kind
comforts before
of
everything else? Yes or no?
everything else,
Like you put home comforts like television, like all modern microwaves, washing machine at home, TV.
yes,
I'm the kind of
I'm the
person
kind of
who
person
puts
who
home
puts
comforts
home comfort
before everything else.
before everything else.
Why? Why? Because I
Why?
can't live
Because I can't live
without my
without
comforts.
my comfort.
Very good again. Last word, relax.
Relax.
Very good again. Listen, the word relax is a verb. It means to
What?
spend time resting or doing something enjoyable. For
Enjoyable. はい。
example, if I want to relax, I usually go to the beach.
うんうん
Okay, let's practice. What do you do when you want to relax? What do you do when you want to relax? When I want
When
to
I want
relax.
to relax,
I
I relax.
what do you do when you do you sleep? Do you go to the hot springs? Do you
uh,
eat?
I go to the hot
I
springs.
go to the hot spring onsen. Very good.
温泉、
Okay,
yeah.
very good. So now let's move on to reading.
Okay. はい。
Okay, so our reading is at stage 6, paragraph page 491.
91.
91, and our last head word was set.
Set.
Okay,
は
start
い。
with the fourth question. What did I set down on the table?
Okay.
Mhm.
What did I set down on the table when I come into the
When I
room?
came,
Sorry. When I came into the room at the beginning of the lesson,
mhm,
you set your book down on